Well, I'm here down at the mall. Actually, it's see, there's the Washington Monument, and on the other side is Abe. He's sitting up there, and this is where my Have a Dream speech was, and everything. So it's a big place to rally people. But what I want to talk about is how you could rally and make lots of money just with your ideas. You don't need credentials. You don't have to know anybody. You don't have to be anybody. You don't have to have a degree or whatever. The whole system is turned upside down. I mean, just think of it. When I first started writing books, you had to be in bookstores, right? And so you needed a publisher because you had to get all that money to publish a book and get it in bookstores and everything. So you got all these big companies in the middle that made all the profits and you made barely nothing. So you had to sell millions of copies, and that's crazy. And now all that is going away. Why? Because of Amazon. You can now write a book, put it on Amazon and start selling it, and it doesn't cost you a penny. Okay, maybe it costs you $20 because you don't know how to format it for Amazon, and there's people that will do that for $20. So that's it. And now what's happening? Okay, I used to write a column for Good Housekeeping magazine. I wrote a column for the New York Times Syndicate, and I did that really. You don't make a whole lot of money as a columnist unless you're a real big shot one. And so to make a living, a lot of it is just small amounts of change. I think at the time, Good Housekeeping gave me $1,000 a column or something like that. So I'm not going to be a millionaire doing that, right? But it was to get a credential. So that's the only way people, they had the market, they had the eyeballs. So I had to get in that magazine or in the New York Times or whatever for them to see me. Now you don't have to bother. And it was the same on media. I had to get on big national talk shows for people to see me. Now I don't. I'm on YouTube. It costs me nothing. Right? So the whole world is changing. Now what's changing is having your own newsletter. People are going back to writing, to subscribing to newsletters, and people are making good money out of that. And the people that used to write for the big magazines and the big newspapers are now writing their own newsletters and taking their followers with them. So you could now start and create your own followers, and it costs nothing. And this is a way, even I'm helping some friends now, use it as a way to get a job. In other words, if you're looking for a job, say as a chef, okay, so what you can do, go to this place called Substack. Substack. They've only been around for a few years. Now they're one of the most hottest things on the internet because it's a way for people to start a newsletter, and they do all the marketing. They do everything. They take care of everything. Now they don't charge you anything. They just take like 10% of your subscriptions, and that's enough for them, and you have complete control of everything. And that's what's neat. So it's Substack. And see, you could use this in many ways. Not only having a subscription, and say maybe you want to know the best shopping places where you live. Well, you start a Substack newsletter about the best ways to shop, the best places to drink in your city, in Cleveland or whatever. Well, see, if you have a Substack, newsletter, you could write off all your expenses to go drinking every day, because that's your business, to go out and visit bars. If you like flying remote planes or whatever, well, you could write all that off, because now you have a business of educating people of what you learned about flying remote planes. Yeah, all those things. See, and it costs you nothing, nothing at all. And there's a bunch of them like that. And see, if you're on something like that, if you're on Amazon, it's easier for people to say, oh, okay, it's easier for them to buy it and to know they'll get the money back and all this kind of stuff. If you're selling your books out of the back of your car, that's a little sketchy, right? So that's why these big platforms that cost you nothing give you gravitas. They give you credibility. People are not afraid to partake in what you're doing because you're on this platform, and they don't care who you are when you go on, unless you're doing some fucking weird stuff or whatever. of course. But for normal stuff, you don't have to go to the publishers in New York and kiss ass on these rich people, to publish your thing. No, you publish yourself and go out and see if it's something you like to do. Who cares if you make a lot of money or not? You'll do it anyway. You'd play with toy airplanes anyway, right? Anything like that. You like cooking anyway. So start a Substack and say now you're an expert in that. And they have them for, you can do a podcast on it or videos on it or whatever you want. And now you're in business. You're trying to make money. See, as long as you're trying to make money, you could write off all your expenses. This is why the rich people, don't pay taxes. Their whole life they write off as a business expense. They don't pay taxes, then buy the fun stuff. They do the fun stuff and call it business and write the whole thing off. That's why there's no such thing as a private jet. So if you had a jet to go around and visit bars around the country, you could write that off. See, that's a tax deductible expense. But it isn't for you and your girlfriend to go and you don't have a way that you're showing you're making money on it. That to me is a perfect life. That you're doing something that makes money and you're having fun, right? What could be better than that? And that's the tax system is all set up to do that. So I don't know how much you're paying in taxes this year, but you don't have to pay any. When I first started my business, that's right, I never paid taxes. Everything I was doing was business. I didn't need tax money, after tax money, And you too, because then you're running it out of your house, so part of your mortgage, your rent or whatever is a tax deductible expense. Part of your car is a tax deductible expense. And that's why these platforms, the hardest thing was having the infrastructure to get payments, having the infrastructure that people could apply easily enough, having all that infrastructure. And that's what people like Amazon and YouTube and Substack do for you. They create that infrastructure, and actually Clarify is another one you could give consulting. When people want to talk to you about how to make pancakes, fine. You could charge $75 an hour or $10 an hour, whatever you think you want to charge, and you go on Clarify.fm, I think it is, and they set it all up for free, and they take like, I think 10% or 15% or something like that, but it's all there. It's easy for people to buy. What you have to do is have something easy for people to give you money, and that's how to make money. If you make it too complicated and whatever, screw it. They'll spend it on something else, So that's what these platforms do, and that's why they're becoming so important, and that's why big business is, like these authors that were, big on the New York Times, they're leaving that because they can make a hell of a lot more money and a lot more freedom by going on Substack, And then plus, if you have a little, newsletter on pubs in Cleveland, New York Times not going to take that, right? But you do, and if you're getting 100% of the money, that's a good living. You get 100 people paying you, $20 a month or whatever. 20 times 100, was it 2,000 a month? That's not a bad little, right? My workout app is saying no movement for some time. Do you want to stop your workout? No, I don't want to stop my workout. But that's called Substack. That's part of the gig economy. That's why there's so many other ways to make income in this country that cost you nothing. And that's the other thing. You're not going to make $1 million out of the box, but you won't lose money because you're learning. And that's why anything else you do to me, you're losing money. And if you go and take a course or whatever, that's losing, you're paying somebody else. No, just take this and try it yourself. And you learn by getting in the water and trying to swim, not by sitting in a classroom and telling you how to do this arm that way. No, you'll save your ass if somebody throws you in the water and figure out how to float. and that will teach you. So that's why there's so many ways without money. Man, when I was young and started, they had opportunities like this. You had to have a store, you needed, $500,000. Now you have Etsy for $20 and you have a store. To write a book, you had to be famous and all this kind of stuff. And now, no, nothing. You don't need anybody. And you're in the biggest bookstore in the world, And that's why it's all about distribution. And distribution is easy now with all the social media, marketing, you learn how to do that. And that's just trial and error. You're not going to go out of the box and be a millionaire, but you have to start everything. It takes time. Me doing this business, boy, that took 7, 8, 10 years to figure it out. I couldn't get it because I had too much old success I couldn't get out of my brain. Because I was selling well in bookstores. I was selling well because I was a professional guest acting crazy on talk shows, and that went away. So it took me a while to unlearn, and that's what you have to do. What you think works probably won't, but you try it and see that it doesn't work, and then you learn from that and then try something else, and you see if that works, and if it doesn't, then you try something else. That's the only way to get from A to Z, is going through all those other steps in the middle that may or may not work. And unless you have something else better to do, unless you have a life you really love, man, to me, this is the answer. You keep trying and failing and stuff that may be better. All you have to know is that what you're doing is not right. You don't have to know what perfect is. You start building perfect. So you go out, fail, and take another step towards trying to build something that's perfect for you. You don't know, nobody else could tell you. You take little ideas and use them. But I think the biggest sin is, particularly for people who don't have money to blow, if they don't, is to do all your next steps without money. And you can, it's easy, if you stay away from Google. If you're going to look for Google for the answers, you'll think every answer requires money. And it doesn't. So stay away from Google until you get lots of money and you don't care what happens.